Equations with fractions, part 1. In this section we'll begin with how you solve equations with adding and subtracting. And you do it basically the same way you do it with integers, just obviously you're using fractions instead. So if we look at this problem here, solve n plus 3/4 is equal to 2 1/2. All we're going to do is exactly the same thing that we're used to doing, which is we just subtract the 3/4 from that side and subtract the 3/4 from that side. Now it might help to just rewrite this problem a little bit differently, but we know now that this is going to cancel out these two here. So we're just going to be left with n is equal to 2 1/2 minus 3/4. So then all we do is we go ahead and we change that the same way we would always do this with finding a common denominator. So the common denominator between 1/2 and 3/4 is going to be quarters. So this is going to be 2 2/4 minus 3/4. And we still can't really do that because we can't subtract 3/4 from 2/4. So we're going to go ahead and rename or regroup. So this is now 1 6/4. If you remember the whole idea of just taking this one whole piece, dividing it into 4 pieces, and then you have 4 more quarters, so you have 6/4 minus 3/4. Now we can do the problem. We subtract the fraction part here from the fraction part here. We end up with 3/4. And 1 is all we got left for whole number. So that's what we got. Now, same sort of problem here. All we're doing here is e minus 2 1/4 is equal to 3/4. So we're just going to do the exact same method here. Plus 2 1/4 and plus 2 1/4. And it makes perfect sense. This cancels out here, so we don't even have to worry about that. We go back and we're just left with e is equal to 3/4 or 3/4 minus 2, or excuse me, plus 2 1/4. So since we're just adding, we have a common denominator. All we do is we add the fraction together. 3 plus 1. That's 4/4. We can write it out that way if we want, just to make sure it's clear. And 2 is all the whole numbers we got, and that's just going to be equal to 3. And then we check our answers and see if this all makes sense. Does it make sense that 1 3/4 over here plus 3/4 is going to be equal to 2 1/2? Yeah, it makes sense, because what we do is we'd say that this n, if n is equal to 1 3/4, that's like 2 plus 3/4 is maybe 1 or 1/2, depending upon what you want to do. But either way, it's either going to be 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, or 2 plus 1/2 is equal to 2 1/2. And here, same thing. You just say, well, 3, e is equal to 3. 3 minus 2 is equal to about 1. So that makes sense.